What's going on, guys? I'm Zachary Gray, and today we're going to be cruising around here looking for some critters. Not sure what we're going to find, but we're also going to be keeping some stuff too, because the people don't want to have snakes and stuff on their property. So we're going to see what we can find. Let's go. This area is mostly pine forest, so there's not a lot to flip over, but we're already starting to see signs of reptiles in the area. So check this out, guys. This is really cool. This is a gopher tortoise burrow. Now, I wouldn't say a gopher tortoise is actually using this. I would have no clue of that. Something's been digging right here. It's an ant pile on top of it. I don't want to mess with that. But something's been using it. You can tell because something's been dragging the pine needles in with it. And what's cool is, gopher tortoise burrows are used by all sorts of animals. And whatever's using this right now has a pretty clear trail that he's walking here. So I can see he's been going through here, and see the grass is laid down here and here. So look here. This is the same animal that's using that burrow. So it goes through here. Animals have very set tracks. They'll sometimes use the same trails every day. This could be a gopher tortoise trail. It could be for a fox. There's no telling what's actually using that burrow right now. We're gonna leave the trail and start looking for something else. But that's really cool that that stuff's been using that trail. With everything warming up going into spring, sometimes I forget that animals will be out and about, not just hiding under logs. Oh, come here. Check this out. It's a legless lizard. How did I not notice him? You okay, buddy? Yeah. I wasn't even looking at this little dude. I thought we were going to find something under the log. This is an eastern glass lizard. Look at him. This is actually the smallest one I've ever found. These guys are pretty rare. I almost never find these guys. It makes sense that he'd be out in the open right now. We're getting some really good warm spells, and he's getting a little bit of sunlight right there. Now, as you can see, he's pretty calm right now, and they'll go from being perfectly stiff, like look, I can hold him like that, and he'll kind of be stiff. And if I mess with his tail too much, he's going to start freaking out. That's how most glass lizards are, but if I keep him calm like this, he's going to be nice and relaxed. Now you may be wondering, I said glass lizard. This is actually what would be called a legless lizard. And they call it a glass lizard because of how fragile they are. That's why I'm having to be very careful with this little guy. But glass lizards have no legs, but they are considered a species of lizard. They actually have ears and they have eyelids, which is something that snakes do not have. Really cool little guy, and you can see where the tail ends. This is where the tail ends, right there. So all of this is tail. So they've got a little short body and a big long tail. How you doing, buddy? Well, let me see if I can get him to crawl. Look down here. Right here, I made the mistake of messing with his tail to get him to move. This made him very nervous and made me make an even bigger mistake. Oh gosh. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, I almost lost him. Oh no. Well, take a look at this. That's why I needed to be fragile with him, and I messed up his tail. See that? Terrible. It's not going to hurt him at all. He's fine. Their tail's detached to escape predators. And you know, that's how fragile they are. Terrible on me, but you can kind of get to see that. Yes, they detach their tails, and he had never actually had his tail broken off, which is really rare for glass lizards. Most of the time, their tail won't be broken off. I'm going to put the tail down. That's 100% nerves in the tail. And it's cool to get to show you guys that, but that's so upsetting. And that was 100% my fault. But I really try to make a habit of not breaking the tail off. That's 100% my fault, and I'm very sorry about that little buddy. But their tails do grow back. So that's, you know, that's one thing that's going to be good. His tail's going to grow back. Now, one thing, we are actually going to be keeping this little guy because a lot of people will kill snakes, and most people don't want snakes on their property. And I've actually got a little female eastern glass lizard that was a rescue that, you know, if this is a male, we could get a breeding pair of eastern glass lizards. And these guys are really rare, and people kill them all the time, which is really upsetting. But we're going to actually be ending up keeping this guy. They're very rare, and it'd be really cool to get a breeding pair. I don't know if this is a male or female or what, but this is such a special animal. And I mean, just look at this. They've got a nice, shiny skin color. He's got a really cute little face. They've got all different patterns depending on the glass lizard. If you look at his face right there, look at this. He's got a really cool face. They've got all kinds of different patterns on him. And one thing that's interesting, I'm going to pick the tail back up. What the tails do, as you can see, the tail is still moving quite a bit. It's not moving like it was a second ago. Normally they go crazy. But that's actually a predator's turn. So the tail will keep moving, and the tail has no vital organs in it whatsoever. It's all nerves and meat, basically, from the lizard. And it's going to go crazy, and the animal, like let's say a snake or a bird would try to grab him, they would keep this, and they'd like, okay, yeah, I caught the lizard. So they hold on to this tail, and the lizard actually gets away. The tail is moving, and they think that the lizard is struggling to get away, but it's actually just the nerves in the tail. Now, he still has a lot of tail left. All of this is still tail. It could break off from all the way up here. So really only half of his tail got broken off when I just made that mistake. But this lizard is going to be perfectly healthy. It happens all the time in the wild. In fact, it's pretty rare for me to find one that hasn't had its tail broken off before. And a lot of animals that I find, like snakes, I find them with nub tails. That's from people grabbing them and them twisting their tails off. That's from birds grabbing them. Even a gator or another snake can rip off their tails. Now, I call them a glass lizard. Most people call them a glass snake, or a legless lizard. There's a bunch of different names for these guys, but they are technically, no matter what you call them, a lizard. So saying it's a glass snake is not incorrect. It's just a name that people call them, even though this is technically speaking a lizard. Hence why it can break its tail off and grow back. And I find it hilarious. Like, I freak out so much, I'm like, no, it broke its tail. Zachary, it grows back. I'm just upset that I did that to him. It's gonna take him time to grow it back. But look, see that tail? That's gonna grow back. Completely grow back, and it doesn't cause him any pain whatsoever. There's nothing that's really going to affect the lizard from me messing up like that, but I still don't like to break their tails off. It's going to grow back a different color and everything like that. Now, they're mostly insectivorous. They'll mostly eat insects, but they'll also eat carrion, which is something interesting. They'll find old meat, like something laying on the ground, or it can be literally any kind of meat that they'll find and eat. It doesn't need to be moving for them to eat it. They eat a lot of earthworms because they live underground, and one of their biggest predators underground, because that's where they spend most of their life, is coral snakes and milk snakes. See, coral snakes and milk snakes love to eat lizards, and they'll eat these glass lizards whenever they run into them under a log or even anywhere underground. And they normally come out in springtime, and the best time to find them is early morning, because when they wake up, they get some water. And how they get their water, they don't need to be next to a body of water. They get some dew or something, any kind of dew or raindrops or any kind of puddles. They get some water and go straight back underground to basically live their day tunneling and looking for insects. They're a really special animal. We get huge legless lizards in certain parts of the world. We also get worm lizards, but the eastern glass lizard is our native species of glass lizard here in Louisiana. Now, this little guy, there's no telling how long it'll take to grow that tail back, but it'll grow to full length, and it really depends on how much they eat, and we're going to make sure that he eats plenty. So he's going to grow his tail back really quickly, and they love these pine tree forests, because as you can see when he tried to take off from me there, see, they camouflage really well, and there's all these little sunspots for them to lay in. Beautiful lizard. I'm terribly sorry about your tail there, little buddy, but we're going to feed him up. We're actually going to take him from here, and we're going to take him back and raise him, because they do really well in captivity. I love these little guys, and we don't want him getting chopped in half with a shovel. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you did enjoy, definitely leave a like, and I will see you guys next time. Alright, let's go set this little guy up.